or our participating sponsors.
If you're not out of the bed yet, then what are you waiting for? It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on 1690 WVON. On the road and both hands on the steering wheel. We will not be held responsible for any accidents. It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
The Audio Genius.
Get in on the conversation with Rufus Williams and the Morning Show at 591-1690. We are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Good morning and welcome to Wednesday. It is the 5th of August, the year 2026. It's the Rufus Williams Show. I am Rufus Williams, and as always, thrilled, delighted, and just excited to be here with you this morning, and so appreciative to each of you for waking up with Rufus. The crew is all here: Mamie, BJ, Annette, Titus, Rufus. So let's get to it. We've got guests coming up at 7:20. So a few things that are happening in the meantime. When I left here yesterday, well, before I even get to that, Titus, baseball was played last night.
Yes, it was.
Annette, baseball was played last night.
Yeah, it was, as Titus just said.
One team won, one team didn't. One team won and one team got smoked.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, Titus, how you feeling this morning?
I'm okay. It's all right. I mean, we knew Boston had won 24 of the last 27 games. The White Sox pretty much were going in as the underdogs, even though they lead their division. And the Red Sox are just red hot right now. Before this, they had a loss. They won like 16 in a row, which was on pace to be an MLB record before they had lost. So, I mean, it's not unexpected.
How does a team win that many games?
Great defense. Boston has one of the best defensive lineups in baseball right now. Their infield and outfield, they catch everything. They don't miss plays. They have these things called, when you mess up in baseball, called errors.
Yeah,
so that's in case, like, if you drop the ball and when you can make a basic routine out or something like that.
They don't do that.
They don't do that. So it's really hard to beat them.
The best defense is a pitcher.
Oh, yeah. The pitching, too. Ooh, man.
And wasn't Boston stinking up the place not that long ago?
Yeah, just last year they were pretty bad, but this year they've been on the road.
Got on a heater. Okay, well, enough about the losing stuff. Annette, the Cubs won yesterday.
Yeah, and from what I understand, they're going for a sweep this afternoon
against the Dodgers.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it?
Especially
I think it has something to do with the
big
Cookie
acquisition
Monster
at the trade deadline.
Wait, Annette says she thinks it has something to do with the Cookie Monster.
Yeah, he was there, right? He was at the game,
Yes,
and
he
he was
did just
eating
have
his
it in the
chocolate chip
stretch.
cookies, and he was kind of a mascot,
He
right?
was. We didn't get to talk about it yesterday. Yesterday was National Cookie Day. So
Right.
those who went to DoubleTree got free cookies, and the Cookie Monster hung out at Wrigley Field.
We blame you, Rufus. Where were the cookies? You're supposed to be, our food magnet. You bring the food into the studio.
I am worthy of blame in this case. I did not do it. I did not even talk about it, and I do kind of like cookies.
I love cookies.
so, so yeah, blame that one on me. I guess we should have gone and hung out with the Cookie Monster, who's saying, "Taking me out to the ball game."
He did, right?
It's kind of big and rough. Look, when I left yesterday, I was a little bit heated because I was watching CNN while we were here, and they were just about to approve Todd Blanche through the Senate committee. And so, what did they do? They approved Todd Blanche through the Senate committee. This is just it makes that Todd Blanche is clearly Donald Trump's personal attorney. And their whole issue around retribution is so real and so clear. What they got from this was so nothing. And I think the person who put it so plainly, and not even talking about the slush fund, but just talking about what they did with respect to Donald Trump's taxes, yesterday was Congressman Cory Booker. It was just, this is the worst. These people have just lost it, and it just forces me. When I get a chance, when I get a moment, I am going to go back and revisit Project 2025 because everything to me appears that they're doing exactly what they said they didn't know about, but what is clearly in Project 2025 in dismissing all of these people from the federal government, which, if you recall, Elon Musk came in with Doge and cut through everything. They have made the media docile, and they're putting people in place who are there not to do the bidding of the American people, but to do the bidding of the Heritage Foundation and all of those who have put together Project 2025. And this just makes it that much worse when we don't have the justice system to depend on.
No, you're absolutely right. And I don't understand the whole thing about being scared of Trump because it's now at the point where it's just unacceptable. I mean, you knew that Todd Blanche was his personal attorney. I just don't understand why this keeps happening.
Annette, is there anything that makes any sense in what we're seeing from this and from the Justice Department? I mean, I just can't ration it.
Yeah, I was just saying it's happening in real time. This thing is going up for a vote this week. And what I haven't heard a lot of is from the Democrats. I haven't heard them, I've heard people be outraged about it, but I haven't heard a plan about the future. And as you talked about Project 2025, it's in writing. And, our high level Harvard, Princeton legal team coming out, Democrats, I don't hear them talk about a plan. I've heard as much as I want to hear about what's wrong with Donald Trump. And that's all plain and simple. Everybody knows that. At this point, there has to be a definitive plan, some kind of movement, because they're moving forward with an agenda. Where is the agenda for the Democrats? We do see progressive Democrats speaking out, but I don't hear from the high level profile regular Democrats that we've known for years speak out and what their plan is. And I think it's void.
Yeah, we're in a constant reactive mode. And to your point, what we're seeing is this progressive movement that at least is bringing something forward. There was a big look at the elections last night across the country. Many of them come out too close to decide. And in those cases, it's kind of what's happening with the centrist Democrats versus what's happening with this progressive wing. And this progressive wing, even if they're not winning, but they are making a strong move to say, look, we need to hear, see, and know something different. And it sounds to me like the things that they're pushing for aren't real odd, out of the box things, but not supporting this war where Israel is blowing up everything and everybody, and affordability. They seem to be pretty basic and regular things that everybody should be able to get around and get behind. It's not that much, but somebody's got to take the wheel. Somebody's got to take charge, and somebody's got to move this forward. And the true and consistent push to defeat what's coming out of this Republican Party, which continually is pushing through on Project 2025, is just where we are. The only beauty in this is that much of what's being done is being done by executive order, not by law, which means somebody else can come in and change it as quickly as this has been changed. But what they have done in these 2 years, and can you believe it, Donald Trump has 2 more years, what they have done in these 2 years is truly going to leave a scar. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more right after this.
More of the morning show with Rufus Williams coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years guaranteed? Now through August 24th, new Xfinity customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi this summer before it disappears. Just $50 a month for 5 years. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. Plus, it keeps you protected from online threats. And get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable. Learn more at Xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi.
Chicago, get ready for a night of pure magic. On Saturday, August 29th, the Destiny's Child Iconic Reimagined Tribute lights up the historic Congress Theater. One unforgettable night celebrating the songs that defined a generation. Imagine Survivor, Say My Name, Independent Woman, Reimagined. A 5-piece string ensemble delivers a stunning symphonic interpretation of the hits and love songs you know by heart, blending contemporary sounds with the group's signature harmonies and those empowering lyrics that still move us today. And guiding you through it all, narrator Matthew Knowles, the management powerhouse who built Destiny's Child from Houston Dream to global phenomenon. Want the ultimate experience? Upgrade to VIP for premium seating and an exclusive meet and greet. But hurry, VIP packages are limited. From the moment the doors open, you'll feel it. It isn't just a concert, it's a celebration. The Destiny's Child Iconic Reimagined Tribute, August 29th, Congress Theater. Tickets at destiny'schild.com. Get yours before they're gone.
This Friday, join WVON's Rufus Williams and Metra as WVON broadcasts live from Millennium Station from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. We'll have special guests and WVON personalities on hand, bringing you the latest from Metra and the community. Metra is a safe, efficient, and clean way to travel throughout the Chicago region. And this year, Metra is celebrating 100 years of electrified transportation. That's this Friday, August 7th, from 7 to 9 a.m. Join WVON and Metra live from Millennium Station.
This is your host and life coach, Linnell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So join me as we look at supporting you in living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
This report is brought to you by Jewel Osco. Shop Jewel Osco and catch the savings on seafood. Fresh Atlantic salmon fillets are $5.99 a pound. Limit 10 pounds. Plus, Waterfront Bistro 26 to 30 count easy peel raw shrimp is also $5.99 a pound. Limit 4 pounds.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Things are off to a normal start this morning. You're looking at a 20-minute trip along the Ryan from 95th Street into downtown. Outbound, things are quiet. As you make your way along the Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, no problems or delays there. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, things are quiet there still. If you're on the Stevenson, you are looking at 35 minutes from I-355 to DuSable Drive, outbound, a 35-minute trip as well. The Eisenhower off to a 50-minute start already from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, that outbound trip at 45. And the Kennedy, not too bad. 37 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown, you're looking at a 35-minute trip to the airport. Taking our first look at weather, off to a muggy start this morning. The National Weather Service says showers this morning, showers this afternoon, and storms tonight. Right now, temperatures are expected to climb near 80, 68 tonight. We're up to 75 in Midway. It's 75 in Morgan Park and 75 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Illinois on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Keep your eyes on the road and both hands on the steering wheel. We will not be held responsible for any accidents. It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. You may or may not have known that this week is National Health Center Week, where we have joining us this morning Dr. Rhee, who is the president and CEO of the National Association of Community Health Centers. Community health centers, well, we'll talk with Dr. Rhee about it, but they're serving a record number of Americans, and we can talk about what's unique and why this is happening in the spaces in which it's happening. Dr. Rhee, good morning and welcome to WVON.
Good morning, Rufus. Thank you for having me.
No, it's good to have you. Community health centers serve more than 50 million Americans, which is about 1 in 7 people. Talk to us about what's driving that.
So, and just so you know, in Illinois, we probably serve around 1 in 5. So it's even bigger in the state and the city that you're in. What's driving that need? I reflect on it as a primary care doc. It's really this need to have a health home that, patients, families, communities, they want a place they can go to. And I like to say that primary care and community health centers are the front door to health. And who do you call when you want to get healthy or stay healthy? It's often your primary care doc and your primary care team. We've now grown, as you said, to a record number. Over the last 60 years, we've grown to now be the nation's largest primary care system. And we have over 17,400 welcome mats and front doors, places where people can access affordable, trustworthy care.
Well, Dr. Rhee, you're the president of the association, so obviously this is a distinguished group, a differentiated group. For those who are not familiar with community health centers, what is a community health center and who actually has an opportunity to use them?
So community health centers are very unique in our health system, where I would say we don't focus on being local. We don't focus on being patient-centered as much as we could and we should. And so since our founding in 1965, community health centers have been for everyone. All are welcome at their local community health center. In fact, the first community health centers were called neighborhood health centers. And so now we've grown to over 17,400 sites nationwide. We have a workforce of over 334,000. And as you said, record number of patients served, over 52 million. We are that safety net that catches people when the rest of the system can't. And I just want to highlight the key principles we're built on in this moment is affordability, comprehensiveness, and high quality effectiveness. And so we deliver, with only 1% of healthcare spent in the U.S., comprehensive primary care that's effective to 14% of the population. And so these are some aspects about community health centers. We're also patient governed, which is very important. 51% of the board of a community health center has to be patients from that community. At a time when there's a trust crisis in healthcare, we are trusted because we are also patient-centered and patient-governed.
So, Dr. Rhee, as we move around, we see hospitals, we see urgent care facilities. When we're talking about community health centers, are those more of what we would see like a mile square health center, or a center that's there that may or may not be directly connected to a hospital?
Yeah, so there are some community health centers like Mile Square that are connected to the hospital, and we appreciate those types of partnerships. I would say, simply put, community health centers are about keeping people out of the hospital, out of the emergency room, out of needing specialty care. As a primary care doc, I very much appreciated the fact that I had many patients with hypertension, diabetes, depression, and my job was to keep those people healthy, keep them on the right medications, get them the right treatments and diagnoses, and then really keep them productive in the community. And the biggest thing I was trying to do is make sure they were healthy and never needed that hospital, never needed that emergency room. As you look at community health centers in our nation, and part of the reason why we continue to grow, everyone knows, policymakers know, that we save lives and we save money. And we are, I believe, the best, most innovative part of our health system.
Talk about what makes this level of care and what happens in a community health center unique that's bringing people there versus some of the other places.
I would say the thing, it goes back to the basics of what healthcare is about. It is about trust. It is about that interaction between a patient and a provider. And what's beautiful about health centers is we have a whole team that supports that one patient, that one family, that whole community. And so I think what makes us unique is that trust. I think part of that is because we're local. I think it's also because we're patient governed. I think it's also that we have a welcome mat for all, so everyone feels welcome. And we see everyone regardless of ability to pay. The fact that we also go beyond the exam room, we partner with local community-based organizations to connect individuals to vital resources that support their overall well-being. We know health is more than just health care. It's more than what happens only in the exam room. We address those broader drivers of health. At a time now, for example, we're talking about the importance of nutrition in preventing chronic disease. Our first founder, Dr. Jack Geiger, in his first health center in Mississippi in 1965, was famously known as writing prescriptions for food for those who suffer from malnutrition in the Mississippi Delta. So we operate with this belief that we have to take care of the whole person, the whole family, understand their circumstances, and meet their needs, whatever it takes.
Dr. Rhee, we talk about health care and other issues often here on this show. Talk to us about what you're hearing from health centers about the biggest healthcare challenges that are facing Americans right now.
The biggest challenges I'm hearing from health centers, and I've visited 49 states and territories in my last 3 years, is the challenges of funding and workforce. When it comes down to it, even though we only cost 1% of healthcare spend to serve 14% of the population in communities of highest need, we have challenges related to funding and workforce. When I reflect on the challenges that I had, seeing a child with dental caries and needing that pediatric dentist and seeing that, there was a long waiting time for seeing a pediatric dentist, or someone with severe depression and a long waiting time for a psychologist or a psychiatrist. There are challenges as it relates to funding and workforce. We have a primary care workforce crisis as well. We expect by 2036, we will have 75,000 physician gap for primary care. And I know it's football season starting up, and I'm a big fan of NFL, and you often need a quarterback of your teams in primary care. And so, that's an important piece that we have to think about, the workforce challenges that we're also facing right now. So those are the pressures people are hearing. That's why it's so important each of you in your community think about discovering your health center, advocating for your health center, and really supporting and donating to your health center at this critical time.
So, Dr. Rhee, if there is one message that you would want every American to understand about community health centers, every policymaker, what would that be?
It's about this issue of trust. in a system that we now have challenges with trust, I would say, as we think about the overall healthcare system. We're spending over $5 trillion on healthcare. It is also, the importance of trust. And community health centers have built that trust. They've earned that trust for 60 years. And they are really trust by design because patients help govern them, and they stay in these communities of need and welcome everyone regardless of their ability to pay. So while we're celebrating National Health Center Week this week, I just want to tell everyone and all of your listeners, 24/7, 365 days a year, as I experienced firsthand, whether I was answering phone calls on a weekend or an evening for patients that I served, we are there for you, serving your community, saving lives, saving money. And if you want to invest in trust and you want to invest in healthcare that does that, invest and support your local community health centers, the trusted partner to prevent disease, save lives, and save money.
Wonderful way to end it. That's Dr. Rhee. He is the president and CEO of the National Association of Community Health Centers. Got a long resume, but I'll just say he earned his medical degree from University of Southern California, a master's in health policy from Harvard, and a bachelor's in molecular biophysics and biochemistry from Yale University. Dr. Rhee, where can listeners go to find a community health center in their community?
I would ask all of your listeners to go to nachc.org and go there and find and discover your local health center, because you can look at Find a Health Center tool and see by zip code, city, or state your local health center. I'd also ask your listeners to think about advocating, locally and at your state capital on behalf of your local community health center. You could sign up to become a community health center advocate. And last, donate to support your local health centers and the people who serve on the front lines. Thank you so much, Rufus. Thank you to your listeners. Thank you for your support and bringing up community health centers.
Appreciate you, Dr. Rhee. Stay well. Let's take a break, find out from Annette what's going on in the news. I'll take your call, 773-591-1690. We'll talk when I come back after this.
You want to grab your umbrella as you head out. The National Weather Service says we're in store for a rainy day as temperatures climb into the low 80s. Good morning. I'm Annette Flanoy, and here's what's happening. There are new consumer protections in Illinois against unfair home and auto insurance rates. Governor Pritzker signed 2 bills into law that gives the Illinois Department of Insurance the authority to review and reject unfair auto and home insurance rates and unexpected hikes.
With my signature today, Illinois will begin requiring insurers to transparently justify proposed rate increases, and we are empowering regulators to fight unfair and arbitrary hikes.
Pritzker signed it into law yesterday. Now, the laws also ban insurance companies from increasing rates on Illinois policyholders to cover losses associated with out-of-state disasters, including hurricanes and wildfires. Well, Powerball fever is running wild. The jackpot has jumped to $786 million and counting. WVON's Kayla Patton went out to find out what folks are dreaming about.
There was no winner in last night's Powerball game. No one matched all 6 numbers, so the grand prize has jumped to $786 million and counting. Imaginations are running wild as many Chicagoans have big hopes and dreams of how they would spend the nearly billion-dollar jackpot, or the cash value of $340 million. I took to the streets to find out what potential players would do if they won the money. And Tamara says the first thing would be to pay off her bills.
I would actually take the cash value. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. The first thing I would probably focus on is probably trying to get myself out of a little debt. And yeah, I think that's the first thing that I would do.
Okay, thank you so much. The next drawing is Wednesday night, and hopefully a winner will be announced. Kayla Patton, Our News Now, 1690 WVON.
Well, the Bears are making sure star quarterback Caleb Williams is protected for the long haul. According to reports, Darnell Wright is awarded a 4-year contract extension worth $116 million. The deal includes $93 million in guaranteed money, which makes him the highest paid right tackle in league history. Well, that's a look at Our News Now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVO News Time, 7:35.
Hey family, it's me again, Joan Colasso, Executive and Artistic Director of the amazing Timeless Gifts Performing Arts Program for youth and young adults. It's been a great summer, and now it's time for you to see the incredible talent we've been cultivating in 2026. As we present a Timeless Gifts Review, Sunday, August 9th at the Logan Center. Come and enjoy this amazing musical journey as we share some of our best experiences and productions over our 16 years, like Timeless, a musical review, Hit Me, Once a Hit, Always a Hit, and from our international tour in Milan, Italy, and much more.
You'll be dancing in your seat.
That's Sunday, August 9th at the Logan Center, 915 East 60th Street. For tickets and information, go to ticketfalcon.com/TG Summer 2026 and find us on social media at TimelessGifts_Chicago or call us at 312-808-0005.
This is Kamini Khan, certified financial planner professional. For the past year, I've been on a mission to change lives and build wealth in our community. Together, we're changing the paradigm. This year, I'm back with a new series, Wealth Strategies, Money Talks. Join me every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on the Rufus Williams Show as we have thoughtful discussions around building wealth in our community. We'll discuss topics like investing, savings, tax strategies, retirement, and all things money. Yes, that's Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., so set those alarms. Also, be sure to check out the podcast at WVONWealthShow.com.
Komini Khan is a certified financial planner professional with Optimal Planning Partners in alliance with Equitable Advisors LLC member SIPC in Oak Brook, Illinois. For more information, please call 630-575-5046.
It's Gospel with Pam Morris Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there, WVON.
It's the afternoon show.
Those people that are saying, I am not my ancestors, are speaking from a place of privilege only given to them by their ancestors. So how can you come here now, right, when they've shed all the blood, when they've been bitten by all the dogs, when they've been hosed down by all the hoses, when they've been slapped in the face by all the cops, and here you come after laws have been passed to say what you wouldn't allow. I am not my ancestors. I think that is insanely disrespectful.
Weekdays at 3 on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hey everybody, this is Kendall Moore, the Kendall Moore Show, getting you from your work week to your weekend each and every Friday night from 6 until 9 p.m. I get you from your work week to your weekend. Church. Tabernacle.
Kendall Moore, radio for the next generation on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON.
This report is brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where we've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
WVON traffic and weather now.
We're seeing some early morning activity along the Bishop Ford right now. Just a cluster right around 111th Street and slow as you approach the Ryan Tuskegee Airmen Memorial. Just some light traffic right at 99th. Otherwise, once you arrive at the Ryan, a 20-minute trip, we're seeing another cluster in your normal spots, right there at the merge to 71st Street, then slow again from 47th Street to Roosevelt Road. If you're on DuSable Drive, things are still moving well in both directions there. Still that 35-minute trip along the Stevenson from I-355 to DuSable Drive 35 traveling out. The Eisenhower still 55 in from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. Outbound, give yourself 45 minutes. And travel times are bumped up just a bit along the Kennedy in both directions. Now a 38-minute trip from O'Hare to downtown, 39 getting to the airport. Taking a look at our weather on the humid side this morning, the National Weather Service says we're in store for a rainy day. We'll see some spotty rain throughout the morning, then again in the afternoon and tonight. Temperatures are expected to climb at around 80 today, 68 tonight. Right now, we're still hovering in the mid-70s. It is 75 and cloudy at Midway, 75 in Morgan Park, and 75 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
If you're not out of the bed yet, then what are you waiting for? It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. So, folks, one of the more exciting interviews that I've been able to do for Bound and Woven is with the daughter of Richard Pryor, Elizabeth Stordeur Pryor. That Bound and Woven will come up today on Vine TV, and before the show is over, we'll, as we are inclined to do, play a segment of that for you here. But before we get to that, and before we get to a lot of things, we've got some callers on the line who want to get into the conversation that we'll get to, which I will. But in that, there's a new entrant that's expected into the mayoral race coming up on Monday.
Yeah, Willie Wilson. I mentioned that yesterday in the newscast. And yeah, he's expected to make it official. It's unofficial now, but he's expected to make it official on Monday.
What do you make of this? I mean, there are some people who just are perpetual candidates, and Paul Vallis was one. Willie Wilson is one.
Wagaspack is another.
Wagaspack is another. What do you make of these perpetual candidates?
I don't know. You see this, and I don't know. I don't know. Willie Wilson has run for president before.
Yeah, because that's the thing you do after you lose for mayor. You immediately run for president.
Exactly. So I don't know. And that'll be an interesting thing. Let's get him in the studio and ask him, what his intentions are and how serious he is about it, who his supporters are, what his platform will be, he will do better, where he feel things need to be better in the city. I like to, we can get into his head and figure out what his intentions are for the city of Chicago.
Yeah, there is, he certainly has an impact on the race. And whether he wins or not, he has an impact because we looked at the numbers from the last mayoral race, and it was clearly he was a deciding factor, even though he did not win. You have a thought on that, Titus?
I did. And it's one of those things where Perry used to say this all the time, that everybody wants to be king, but nobody wants to be a king maker. And what I think Dr. Willie Wilson is, he's a king maker. He has a great impact outside of the office that will help anybody get elected, especially with the business communities. He's a great person to have in your corner, but I don't think that keep running for office every time the mayoral race or a presidential race or anything does him any good, because it's the fact is that I'm not saying nobody takes him seriously, but at the same time, it's just one of those things where you're so expected to keep doing all these things that it becomes kind of one of those things where you don't take it seriously. Like, you do so much great for the community with gas giveaways and food and all that other stuff. Love all of that. But I think you're one of those guys that's behind the scenes that can shift the election that way versus keep running every time something comes up.
Yeah, when you said one of the things Perry said all the time, I thought you were going to say, please stop singing, Dr. Wilson.
That's what I thought he was going to say, too.
Let's get to the phones. Thurgood, good morning. Welcome to VON. What's on your mind this morning?
Good morning. What a dynamic trio. I love the interplay and the insights. To the topic at hand, you referenced the mayoral race and the entry of Willie Wilson. I've been a past Willie Wilson supporter. I will pass in this instance in favor of the present occupant of the fifth floor. I applaud the mayoralty of Mayor Brandon Johnson. I never will forget, on the night that he was elected, I was watching covering the VON's coverage, and I flipped over to DWN, and I heard a Republican commentator on the panel for something he was there, and he called Mayor Johnson a socialist. Not one day in office, but playing the socialist card. That's a known playbook. Whenever you advocate for education, whenever you advocate for health care, it was that observation of President Eisenhower and Truman that with anything that is innovative, conservatives, Republicans will call it socialist. Ironically, a public road, a public school, Social Security are all socialist notions. We complain about crime in this country, but when you think of nations where there is no crime, those are social democracies, where they have free health care, free education. Your guest recently spoke of the need of primary care doctors and health care. Well, guess what administration? The Republican administration, Mr. Trump, has cut in mass funding for education, resulting in the closure of facilities and the like. So I put me in the Mayor Brandon Johnson camp, advocating for our schools. I think it's despicable that we are considering closing schools, laying off workers over a $700 million deficit here in America's third largest city, and that is being $1 billion plus is being spent in a war based upon lies, again, in the Middle East. So that being said, Mayor Brandon has my vote. In regard that Mr. Willie Wilson, I think in some respects he has a heart for the people, and I can applaud his philanthropy, but his politics are grotesquely naive in that he has supported historically Republicans and their ilk. And just recently, in regard to Todd Blanche, this is a deeply disturbing chapter. Todd Blanche, the president's personal lawyer to ascend to the office of U.S. Attorney General. It's a despicable thought. This is a season where we approach the midterms. The president insists upon perpetuating the lie of election fraud and attempting to push that agenda. It's despicable. I think it's absurd if you occupy the House, the U.S. Senate, the House of the Presidency, and the U.S. Supreme Court for you to talk about voter fraud. If there is a fraud, the fraud is the fraud of Republicans attempting to engage in voter suppression and across this country, attempting to purge black people from the polls. Many analysts believe that Trump is in office today from the shameless efforts that they engage in terms of voter suppression in this country. And if there is a fraud, it is the nature of voter suppression. So Todd Blanche in the Office of Attorney General. Caveat, the former U.S. Attorney under Trump, Mr. Barr, said there was absolutely no voter suppression, no voter surprise. So the voter suppression is a scam. They realize they cannot win in the midterms without voter suppression, without getting your the voter rolls in various states and engaging in voter suppression. Every federal court that has reviewed this notion of giving Trump their voting records has refused it. So that is but a scam. It is a diversion from what? Mr. Trump has increased his personal wealth approximately $3 billion with a B in his second term. Think of that. He's engaged in countless stock trades where he is profiting personally as to the war, peace, war. He's shorting. He's going long the market and making money unapologetically. So this is a disturbing time. One commentator earlier noticed, well, you need a plan. The plan is to win the midterms. That's the only plan that works. It's worth a hoot, because you can have brilliant people like yourself who engage in white papers, public policy papers, but it means nothing if you cannot pass legislation and executive order. So the plan is to get the House and the Senate back. And in that regard, the polling says the Democrats are way ahead in this regard, winning key statewide elections in deep red states. Bernie and Ocasio are actually reading huge crowds at places like Utah. Don't take my word for it, Google it, and where they are packing out stadiums and people are coming out. So my forecast is there will be, unless there is an incredible voter suppression, unless there is something that occurs that is utterly contrary to the party in power always losing in the midterms, you will see a blue wave, and hopefully a blue wave that results in sufficient control of the House and the Senate, such that we can have some subpoenas issued in regard to the Epstein files and in regard to this illegal war. I appreciate the time and WVON as they form. And you mentioned baseball is back. The Bears are back in camp, and we hope to see you and catch a couple of games with your Rufus down the road.
All right, Thurgood, appreciate you. Look, we've got more to talk about. There were a number of things that you brought up, and particularly this thing about education and closed schools and where our populations are. We got to get into that. With respect to Mayor Brandon Johnson, well, is he going to run? becomes a big question right now because he has yet to throw his hat into the ring. Let's take a quick break. I'll take more of your calls when we come back after this.
More of the morning show with Rufus Williams coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
For those just hearing about women employed for the first time, what is the heart of your mission and who are you fighting for every day?
So Women Employed has been around since 1973, and our mission is to increase the economic mobility of women and remove barriers to economic equity. And right now, our focus is growing the economic power of women in Illinois with the focus on the women who are facing the most disparities. And data tells us that that is women that are currently in low wage roles, Black and Latinx women. So that is who we center in our work at the moment.
Can you talk about a recent win or victory that made you pause and say, wow, this is why we do this?
So 2 years ago, we helped to pass an ordinance in the city of Chicago that would phase out the sub-minimum tip wage over a 5-year period. So there is a group of people, and mainly restaurant workers, but there are a lot of industries considered tip wages, and they don't make minimum wage because they have, in Illinois, for these individuals, the employer only has to pay 60% of minimum wage, and the rest of the wages are meant to be made up in tips. And so, most of us, when we think of tips, we think that we're tipping someone, right, for a service they provide, and that's on top of their wages. But for these workers, it's not on top, it's actually making up their wages. And so we successfully passed in City Council in 2024 an ordinance that would, over 5 years, phase out this sub-minimum tip wage to get these workers just the minimum wage.
Right.
City Council, at the last City Council meeting, passed a vote to pause the phasing out of the sub-minimum tip wages, meaning that the wages will pause as to where they are right now, and the next increase that was anticipated, I believe in July, will not happen. Yesterday, the mayor vetoed the vote of City Council, and what we need folks to do now is to call their aldermen, because what we want to make sure is that there are not enough votes to override the mayor's veto.
How can they, contact you? How can they get involved? Because this is very important.
We are at Women Employed on every single platform. So our website is womenemployed.org. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Women Employed. And we do have a section on our website around Know Your Rights. You can sign up for action alerts. You can also sign up for our newsletter as well to make sure that you can stay abreast. And the most important thing is to make sure that you're knowledgeable and not just keep the knowledge for yourself, pass it on to somebody else.
Well, Sharita Ellens, thank you for joining me on this Saturday afternoon from Women Employed. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, and continue to do great work in your community. I'm Candace McCollum, and this is The Doers.
This Friday, join WVON's Rufus Williams and Metra as WVON broadcasts live from Millennium Station from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. We'll have special guests and WVON personalities on hand, bringing you the latest from Metra and the community. Metra is a safe, efficient, and clean way to travel throughout the Chicago region. And this year, Metra is celebrating 100 years of electrified transportation. That's this Friday, August 7th, from 7 to 9 a.m. Join WVON and Metra live from Millennium Station.
Your family's health and our community's health comes first. That's why UChicago Medicine brings you the Community Health Focus Hour, Saturdays at 1 p.m. No matter the health topic, you'll get clear facts, real and doable advice from UChicago Medicine doctors, experts, and community leaders. So you, your family, and community can make smarter choices and live healthier. Hear us at WVON.com or WVON at iHeartRadio. The Community Health Focus Hour, Saturdays at 1 p.m., powered by the Urban Health Initiative of UChicago Medicine at the forefront.
This report is brought to you by Try the new limited edition Orange Dreamsicle Frosty at Wendy's. Try the new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty at Wendy's. It's like walking down recent memory lane. To have Orange Dreamsicle Frosty in our timeline is truly something special, and we shouldn't let that moment pass us by. Be quick. It's only available for a limited time.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No major changes in your travel times. The Ryan, now a 22-minute trip from 95th Street into downtown. As you make your way along the Bishop 4, still seeing that cluster right around 111th Street, then slow to the Ryan, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, heavy right around 99th. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, things are still moving well. No major problems to report there. The Stevenson just bumped up to 40 minutes from I-355 to DuSable Drive outbound, still a 35-minute trip. The Eisenhower still moving along right around 55 minutes from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. A 50-minute trip on the return. And the Kennedy now just bumped up to 40 minutes from O'Hare to downtown, getting to the airport now, a slow-moving 43-minute trip.
Keep your eyes on the road and both hands on the steering wheel. We will not be held responsible for any accidents. It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. In case you didn't know, WVON is on the road again, and this time the Rufus Williams Travel Club is taking you to Charleston, South Carolina, October 8th through the 12th. Charleston is not just another trip. We've gone to South Africa. We've gone to West Africa. This time we're staying domestic, and we're having an intense cultural experience right here in our country. From the roots of the Gullah Geechee heritage to the International African American Museum, food, history, waterfront views, everything about this trip will just hit different. Please go to WVON.com, click on the Rufus Williams Travel Club banner, and be sure you join us on this amazing trip to Charleston, South Carolina. When we get back and I tell you about it, I promise you, if you're not with us, you're going to regret it. In the meantime, let's get back to the phones. Pam, good morning. Welcome to VON. What's on your mind this morning?
Hi, Rufus, and hello to the Rue crew. I haven't called in a while, but certainly I'm always listening. And thank you, Rufus, for the interview regarding health. I guess the one question I would have had, and I probably can go research it, the connection with the community health centers to hospitals. So I think that would be something that I would want to know, and how that structure works.
Yeah, I appreciate
but
that.
thank you.
Yeah, he said they are connected in some cases, but he didn't go further into it.
Okay, and I'll check it, but thank you for that interview. Let me just say, Rufus, first and foremost, I'm supporting Mayor Johnson, and as you stated, if he decides to run, I think he will. So when he first got in office, they wanted to label him a socialist, which was a lie. Now that he's been there for 4 years and he's taken some stands, he said, look, what's happening, Gaza, that's genocide. And so then you had the Jewish alderman, I can't think of her name, but she said that somehow he was appearing to be anti-Semitic. And so I guess she has and then I saw some other Jewish groups who were calling the mayor out on the same thing. I happen to disagree with that. He tried to be humane in dealing with the issue when Greg Abbott kidnapped immigrants and put them on buses and other forms of transportation and then sent them here. So he tried to deal with that in a humane situation. So I respect his humanity. And Rufus, I'm just going to be real clear about this. I like having someone on the 5th floor who I don't have to worry about if they're racist. Or racist tendencies when they're negotiating on behalf of Chicago? Or do they really have black interests at heart? That gives me a sense of relief. I don't know about anyone else. I'm not saying Mayor Johnson is perfect, but I'm saying those are the things I don't worry about. And you have some people in this race, I call it the white brigade of white hope with some sprinkles of black folk in it. So if you voted for Trump, first term, second term, anytime, if you are a Republican leaning, for me, the answer is no. But I really want you to ask is, don't tell me what Mayor Johnson has done wrong. What are you going to do to correct it? Have you tried to work with Mayor Johnson on some of the issues? If it's public safety, if it's education. And then this mayor is often under attack because the Chicago Teachers Union supported him. My God, Rufus, if he had not had that support and the support of the people, we would have been stuck with a Paul Vallis. So in the business community, I sincerely hope it is not the black business community who is going behind the back of this mayor and trying to work with some of the cabal of people. I really do. I hope the black people are trying to work with Mayor Johnson to get some things accomplished. He tells us he has some support of black businesses, but is that genuine? Are they in his face fronting and doing something else? Now, I said black business people, Rufus, and specifically, only because I expect a different level from black business people. Because we know about some of these conniving other businesses. So my concern is this. When you interview Janulius, white privilege, you're going to run for Secretary of State and for mayor? Because I know if that was a black candidate doing that, it would be problematic to the media. So what I want to know when you interview all these political candidates, what are you going to do differently? Because Janulius, that was an insult where, the mayor has a good heart for the people, but he just, something like he can't get the job done. Janulius has his own demons, and he knows what I'm talking about, and so do other people. So he's a nope. For me, Mayor Johnson is still the front runner. I don't care what the polls say. It is about the people. Rufus, we want something different. We want people who are going to stand up for us. And let me add this last piece politically to the Democratic Party. For James Clyburn, don't go around saying it's black folks' fault because Kamala Harris didn't win. I know, Rufus, the onus is on us to come out and vote in large numbers. I get it. But you hold accountable these, I think, 71% of white folk that came out and voted for the rapists in the White House. Because I'm still not clear why so many people are okay with having that rapist in the White House, credible allegations of raping a child that we can't get investigated because the Republican elected officials are supporting him. The Democratic elected officials, how are you going to work on the federal level every day? And you work with people who are protecting a rapist. So you're supposed to pretend like that is okay. Just twisting yourself and not trying to respect the office. I don't have any respect for a rapist. And if a rapist becomes an elected official, you're still a rapist and a racist and a hater. And black people are under attack. I want people in local, state, federal government who are going to protect black people against this adjudicated sexual abuser. I don't believe anybody in this race is going to do that to the degree that this mayor right now in the fifth floor will. So I have a sense of comfort.
All right,
and that pleases me. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate all your thoughts. Always glad you called back in. Let's find out from Net what's going on in the headlines, what's in Black Information News. Be back with more right after this.
Be prepared for a rainy day in Chicago. Temperatures topping out near 80 on this Wednesday, August 5th, 2026. I'm Annette Flanoy, and in the headlines, a former top Chicago Public Schools official is accused of COVID-19 fraud. A major road improvement project begins today in Countryside, and Darnell Wright is making league history by becoming the highest paid right tackle. National news from the Black Information Network is next on the Voice of a Nation and the Talk of Chicago. 1690 AM WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 8:05.
I'm Mike Iden with BIN News Now. The uncontained wildfires burning in Spokane, Washington is burning over 10,000 acres. The fires have also forced nearly 65,000 people to evacuate. The federal government has approved Washington Governor Bob Ferguson's request for FEMA assistance. The request includes funding for 6 counties and 3 tribal organizations. Over 20 Democrat-led states are urging the U.S. Supreme Court to block the Trump administration's new limits on mail-in ballots. The president wants the federal government to take control of voting by mail. The Supreme Court is expected to act within a few days. The murder trial of the man accused of killing Tupac Shakur is set to begin next week in Las Vegas. Dwayne Davis is accused of orchestrating the 1996 murder and faces life in prison without parole. If convicted, the trial is set to begin August 10th. Now back to Terry McCready.
President Trump says he's looking forward to Todd Blanche being confirmed as the next Attorney General, especially now that GOP Senators John Cornyn and Tom Tillis have withdrawn their opposition after Blanche gave assurances in writing that a controversial fund is dead.
I thought it would be very fair for people that spent years in prison, people that were treated so badly, for in many cases people that did absolutely nothing wrong. So I view that fund as a positive.
The $1.8 billion fund would have been used to compensate January 6 defendants and others who say they were targeted by the DOJ. However, there is another complication in the action. Blanche's reported comments to anti-abortion activists appear to have cost him a vote. Republican Senator Susan Collins of Maine announcing yesterday that she'll oppose Blanche's nomination, citing concerns with his record, including his vow to anti-abortion advocates that he would seek to prohibit the mailing of abortion medication to women nationwide. Missouri's Black Representative Wesley Bell defeating Black former Representative Cori Bush in the Democratic primary. Bell managed to fend off Bush's efforts to make the race a referendum on his support for U.S. aid to Israel. Bell's campaign, together with other allies, outspent Bush by a whopping 27-to-1 ratio, according to Ad Impact. United Democracy Project, the super PAC linked to the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, spent $2 million. That included an ad that slammed Bush for being critical of former Vice President Kamala Harris and the Biden-Harris administration support for Israel. By the way, she did endorse Harris in the 2024 election.
We enforce the law, and because they're doing so, it's racism, but yet their death threats are up by 8,000%, vehicular damage is up 3,300%, assaults up 1,300%.
All right, DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen testifying before the Homeland Security Committee back in June, but now the FBI won't be conducting a civil rights probe into the fatal shooting of a Colombian man in Biddeford, Maine last month. Johan Guerrero was killed by a federal immigration officer. The deadly ICE-involved encounter is the latest in a growing string of clashes between civilians and ICE agents conducting immigration enforcement surges nationwide. The Department of Homeland Security maintains the agent discharged his weapon fearing for public safety after Guerrero allegedly tried to flee from officers. Borders' Tom Homan has acknowledged the agent may not have been properly vetted. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
This report is brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where we've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Chicago, get ready for a night of pure magic. On Saturday, August 29th, the Destiny's Child Iconic Reimagined Tribute lights up the historic Congress Theater. One unforgettable night celebrating the songs that defined a generation. Imagine Survivor, Say My Name, Independent Woman, Reimagined. A 5-piece string ensemble delivers a stunning symphonic interpretation of the hits and love songs you know by heart, blending contemporary sounds with the group's signature harmonies and those empowering lyrics that still move us today. And guiding you through it all, narrator Matthew Knowles, the management powerhouse who built Destiny's Child from Houston Dream to global phenomenon. Want the ultimate experience? Upgrade to VIP for premium seating and an exclusive meet and greet. But hurry, VIP packages are limited. From the moment the doors open, you'll feel it. It isn't just a concert, it's a celebration. The Destiny's Child Iconic Reimagined Tribute, August 29th, Congress Theater. Tickets at destiny'schild.com. Get yours before they're gone.
This August, feed your mind and challenge your perspective on Von TV. See Wronged, the Maurice Carter story, a compelling documentary that examines the devastating impact of wrongful conviction and one family's relentless fight to restore justice and reclaim a legacy.
Wrongful convictions are America's dirty little secret. Our justice system does not want anyone to know that this is happening. Our prisons are filled with people that were sent to prison for crimes they didn't commit, and science later proved they didn't.
Then watch Bound and Woven, where Rufus Williams sits down with authors, historians, and changemakers for powerful conversations exploring Black history, culture, and the ideas shaping our future. In August, discover programming that informs, inspires, and transforms, only on Von TV. Watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, the WVON app, or at von.tv. Von TV, for the culture, by the culture.
It's Cleopatra Draper.
I liken myself to be a great listener, and what I just heard was rhetoric. You gone on Magaland, and they got you real good. And I don't know if you can come back to reality, but in reality, those insurrectionist thugs that you are acknowledging that attacked police officers that they proclaim that they love, that attacked the halls of Congress that we say that we love, that attacked the Constitution and was not only pardoned, but was almost granted reparations, is a slap in the face for the Constitution that you saying you're fighting for.
Middays at 9 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hello, Chicagoland. This is your main man, Tio, Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman. I'm inviting all of my friends, associates, and colleagues to tune in to WVON, the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM for the Tio, Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman Show. This show will cover all the hottest topics, including politics, reducing gun violence, and so much more, right here every Sunday morning from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON. Thank you.
This report is brought to you by Jewel Osco. Shop Jewel Osco and catch the savings on seafood. Fresh Atlantic salmon fillets are $5.99 a pound. Limit 10 pounds. Plus, Waterfront Bistro 26 to 30 count easy peel raw shrimp is also $5.99 a pound. Limit 4 pounds.
Live from the Xfinity Studios, it's the station that America listens to. WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's Rufus Williams on Chicago's essential storyteller, WVON.
You wonder how I do it. It's just one simple rule. I'm just cool. Honey, baby, can't you see? Girl, I'm so cool. Ain't nobody bad like me. Hey. R-U-F-U-S. What's that spell? Cool. Honey, baby, can't you see? Girl, I'm so cool. Ain't nobody bad like me. Sing it, baby. R-U-F-U-S. What's that spell? R-U-F-U-S. That spell cool.
The Audio Genius. The Audio Genius. The Audio Genius.
Welcome back. I am joined in studio this morning by two lovely ladies. I'm only going to talk to one of them, though. Luanda Dockery has just released her book, Wisdom of the Widow. And let me first say, so sorry for your loss. But she lost her husband after a rare brain cancer issue and is sharing kind of what that means otherwise. Luanda Dockery, good morning and welcome to WVON.
Thank you so much for having me, Rufus.
It was good to have you. Just move a little bit closer to the mic.
Sure.
It's good to have you again. So sorry for your loss. But you tell us about your husband.
Ooh. Well, he was my tall drink of water, my fresh air, my number one supporter. He was a man's man, meaning that he was adored by men and women alike. He was always the one that was there. He was always the one that was the support. He was my MacGyver. Whenever anything needed to be done, of course, I would question these, and he would always tell me, Luanda, I've already thought about it 10 times before I even start. So the heart of the man is what I so greatly miss. He was just my everything, He made me safe. I felt covered. I felt secure. And that is one thing that I truly miss about him.
That's nice. So your husband was my twin. What happened?
Well, we were celebrating our 13th year anniversary, and we went to the mountains, and it was a wonderful time. And then one night, he woke up and he was talking about his head was hurting, and his equilibrium was off, and he was trying to make it to the bathroom, and he was throwing up and things like that. And I said to him, if you're not better in the morning, I'm getting you off this mountain. And in the morning, he was not. So we came home, and the doctors said it was vertigo. And that's what we left it at. Maybe a couple weeks later, I came home, and it was dark in the house. And he was sitting there, and I said, babe, why are you sitting in the dark? And he said, Luanda, take me to the ER. I need to find out why my head will not stop hurting. So I took him, and they ran all the tests, did what they needed to do, and the doctor came back and said, well, everything looks good, except I see something in the brain, and we want to make sure what it is. So they took him back in and did a more extensive search. And he came back, and that's when he informed us that the mass was definitely a solid mass, and he was not going home that night. And he would have surgery that following Monday. Now, this was Friday night. It was Halloween. And that Monday, he had brain surgery. And what they found was a mass that was 4x2. And they said that it is called glioblastoma. And it was not treatable. He and I both looked at each other as if to say, what in the world just happened? The surgery, they say, was a success. And what they meant by success was they got 95% of it. Of course, me, well, wait, what about the other 5%? And the way that he explained it to me, he said, if you take a soaking wet rag and you put it on top of a sponge, you can take the rag off of the sponge, which was his idea of explaining the tumor. But the water from the rag is already down in the sponge. And so he said, that portion I cannot remove. First and foremost, because I don't know where it's gone. And we have to wait to see where it pops up. I said, of course, because we've never heard of this before. Why do we have to wait and see? And he told me, he says, if we try to go in, it's more invasive and it would cause more harm than good. So we wait, we go through treatments, we go through radiation. He had to wear this magnetic cap that was supposed to stop the cells from communicating and growing. And with every doctor's appointment, every time we waited for that white coat to walk through the door, we had hope. We were expecting, and we were praying, and we were believing, because we are a family of believers. And we know that God can do anything but fail. But every time they walked in the door, I'm sorry, I said but, yet every time they walked in the door, they did not give us the news that we were looking for. And one time when we walked in, the doctor said, we see another spot. Yes.
I wonder, how long was it from the time he was first diagnosed until the moment you lost him? How much time passed?
A year and a month.
You struggled through it for a year and a month.
Yes, and the doctor told us at that time, when he was first diagnosed, most people who are diagnosed with glioblastoma, it is a year to maybe 2 years that they survive. Now, he did say that there are others who may survive longer, but because there is no cure, eventually they will succumb to the tumor.
Such a hard diagnosis to receive. We're talking to Luanda Dockery. She's here. She's written a book called Wisdom of the Widow, creating space for those who are working through grief, as she just explained what brings her to this moment with the loss of her wonderful husband. We'll have more with Luanda right after this.
My laundry got backed up. I had so much laundry I felt like the help, but I found the truth.
You became a Jehovah's Witness?
I found Clean Break. For less than the price of a good meal, Clean Break washed and folded my clothes and had them smelling fresh the way I like.
It's gotta be inexpensive. You know all the hookups.
Darn Skippy. I wasn't about to pay no $100 for 2 bags of clothes, and I caught the WVON discount.
Girl, sign me up. I'm sold.
Try Clean Break today for just $25 per bag, including pickup and delivery. Call 708-980-7886 or visit cleanbreak.com. That's KLEANBREAK.com. Clean Break, fresh clothes, more free time. Get your weekends back.
So fresh and so clean, Break.
This summer, experience live music under the stars at Ravinia, everybody. Gladys Knight, Brian McKnight are going to headline, and they'll be joined by Chance the Rapper, and a special opening night gala performance featuring Lizzo with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. See great performances all season long, from legendary voices to hometown favorites. Ravinia brings unforgettable sounds to the summer stage. Get your tickets now at ravinia.org.
When it comes to celebrating our Chicagoland communities, Wintrust is here for it. We're proud to support small businesses in our own backyards, like the UPS Store, your one-stop shop for personal and small business solutions at 460 West Irving Park Road, Suite C in Bensonville. Highland Vans, custom-built and designed vans at 872 Cambridge Drive in Elk Grove Village. Samco Restaurant Equipment, family-owned equipment and small wares, located at 2347 136th Street in Blue Island.
This Friday, join WVON's Rufus Williams and Metra as WVON broadcasts live from Millennium Station from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. We'll have special guests and WVON personalities on hand, bringing you the latest from Metra and the community. Metra is a safe, efficient, and clean way to travel throughout the Chicago region. And this year, Metra is celebrating 100 years of electrified transportation. That's this Friday, August 7th, from 7 to 9 a.m. Join WVON and Metra live from Millennium Station.
Get your outfits, grab your crew, and get on board with the Me Plus 3 special starting at $1,000 per person. This time, join the Foundation Fantastic Voyage 2025 cruise will be fun, entertaining, and this will be a once-in-a-lifetime event with seminars, fitness workouts, parades, concerts, and much more starting at $1,000. Call 214-495-1963 to book your Me Plus 3 cabin. Prices are based on 4 passengers in the cabin, so book today while they last and before cabins are sold out.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is your host and life coach, Linnell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So join me as we look at supporting you in living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
This report is brought to you by Jewel Osco. Shop Jewel Osco and catch the savings on seafood. Fresh Atlantic salmon fillets are $5.99 a pound. Limit 10 pounds. Plus, Waterfront Bistro 26 to 30 count easy peel raw shrimp is also $5.99 a pound. Limit 4 pounds.
WVON traffic and weather now.
We got a lot going on. You're looking at a 25-minute trip along the Ryan from 95th Street into downtown. As you make your way along the Bishop Forest, still that minor delay right now right around Cottage as you make your way to the Ryan. On the outbound side, you do want to look out for an accident. Is right there at 130th Street. It's causing some big delays, but not a problem because traffic is still pretty light. As you make your way along Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, you'll hit the brakes right around 99th. Along DuSable Lakeshore Drive, things are now picking up. An 18-minute trip from 67th Street to Jackson. Heavy right there at Hayes. Then you'll slow down again right before the Stevenson, then stop and go all the way to Monroe. Hollywood to Monroe, now an 18-minute trip as well. If you're on the Stevenson, still that 40-minute trip in from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 40 traveling out. The Eisenhower steady, a 55-minute trip from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, 50 on the return, and things are heavy on the inbound side of the Kennedy. You're looking at a 50-minute trip in from O'Hare to downtown. Do factor in an accident at Harlem. On the outbound side, getting to the airport, give yourself 42 minutes there. Taking a look at our weather, cloudy skies and on the humid side of things. The National Weather Service says prepare for a rainy day. We're expected to see some showers this morning, some showers this afternoon, and then storms tonight. Today's temperature is topping out somewhere right around 79. We're looking at 75 right now at Midway. It's cloudy and 75 in Austin and 75 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Illinois on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Now back to the morning show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
It's Rufus Williams. Welcome back. We are talking this morning with Luanda Dockery. Her book is titled Wisdom of the Widow. She just shared her story of her husband here. And Luanda, how are you dealing with the grief? How are you dealing with the loss 3 years ago?
I'm actually doing okay. I am. But it was a process. It was definitely a process because I allowed myself to grieve first and foremost. I think it might have been about 3 months before I actually wanted to get out of bed. It was a very, very heavy weight.
And as you think through it and you share it, and you wrote this book, Wisdom of the Widow, because it's experience that gives you the knowledge, and that wisdom doesn't do any good if you keep it to yourself. So you're sharing with others. You've written this book, and you're out sharing your story and sharing the book with others this weekend. Tell us about what's happening.
Yes. So this weekend, I am relaunching Wisdom of the Widow. Last year is when I actually came out with the book, but then the bottom fell out of my life, and I actually experienced maybe about 7 deaths in my family. And then my son became deathly ill, and I almost lost him. So because of that, I was not able to actually launch the book in the way that I so desired. But now coming up out of that, staying in a place of quote unquote hiding and really, really healing and helping others to get through their grief process, it let me know that now is the time. And so this weekend, on Friday, the 7th, from 5:30 to 7:30, I am going to be relaunching the book. I'm going to have some special guests there. It's going to be at the Influence Event Suites, 285 Montgomery Road in Montgomery, Illinois. I would encourage anyone and everyone who is experiencing grief, who is a caregiver of someone who is grieving, come out, celebrate with me, talk with me. Let's join hands. Let's take this journey together, because I want everyone to know they're not alone.
You've been dealing with a lot. Where is Montgomery, Illinois?
It is, I call it the Tri-City. It is Montgomery, Aurora, Oswego.
Okay.
The 3 of them connect. Maybe one street divides each one. So
southwest of the city.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I knew of Montgomery, Illinois, but now I do. You're there. You're sharing. This is the season for most of us, but it seems to have been really difficult for you in this space. So how are you doing?
I am. I'm doing well. I do believe that God is my keeper, and He has never left me and never forsaken me. My strength. For me to be able to write this book, that's where my strength comes from. To put every word on the page, it was strength from God. And I yielded myself and I said, here I am. If this book can help someone, then I've done my due diligence. I've done what I am called to do, and that is to help. The word of the Lord says to help the widows and the orphans. I'm a widow. His children are, quote unquote, orphaned, because in biblical days, whenever the husband died, whenever the man died, the children were then considered orphaned. So it is my goal to help everyone who is going through to know that they're not alone, that this journey can be traveled, and I'm here to help them travel this journey. It is my purpose.
Well, as we end, give us one bit of wisdom from the widow on what we can do to help deal in the area of grief.
Accept the grief. Welcome the grief. Allow the grief to do what it's going to do, because
it's part of the process.
It is absolutely a part of the process. If you deny the process, you will never heal. Now, do you really heal from grief? In a sense, yes, because you're able to maintain it more. But I say this, welcome grief. Tell grief, hello, you're welcome here. You remind me of someone who I've loved.
That's Luanda Dockery. Her book is titled Wisdom of the Widow. I suspect it's available wherever people can get their books.
Absolutely. I would recommend going to my website, www.luandadockery.com. Click on the shop button, and you'll see the book there.
Perfect. And that's where we can also get the details of the book signing on Friday.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Luanda Dockery, wish you nothing but love.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your book, and thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Let's find out from Annette what else is going on in the news. When we come back, as I shared, we'll hear my conversation with Elizabeth Stordeur Pryor, the daughter of Richard Pryor. We'll be back right after this.
Cloudy, humid, and rain headed our way. Good morning. I'm in Illinois, and here's what's happening. Mayor Brandon Johnson is speaking out after another key figure has left his department. The city's budget director, Annette Guzman, handed in her resignation. Her departure follows other top leadership on the mayor's team that has stepped down. Mayor Johnson says his team is stable.
Transitions happen all the time in administrations, but what's most constant is my presence.
Now, Mayor Johnson is expected to present his budget in October. Right now, there are 10 candidates in the race for Chicago mayor, and it looks like another may join on Monday. Businessman Willie Wilson is expected to make what he calls a big announcement. Meanwhile, Mayor Johnson has yet to make his plans known. There are new consumer protections in Illinois against unfair home and auto insurance rates. Governor Pritzker signed 2 bills into law that gives the Illinois Department of Insurance the authority to review and reject unfair auto and home insurance rates and unexpected hikes.
With my signature today, Illinois will begin requiring insurers to transparently justify proposed rate increases, and we are empowering regulators to fight unfair and arbitrary hikes.
He signed it into law yesterday. The laws also ban insurance companies from increasing rates on Illinois policyholders to cover losses associated with out-of-state disasters, including hurricanes and wildfires. Well, today is the first day of Chicago Bears practice that is open to the public at Hellis Hall in North Suburban Lake Forest. The Bears are making sure star quarterback Caleb Wilson is protected for the long haul. According to reports, Darnell Wright is awarded a 4-year contract extension worth $116 million. The deal includes $93 million in guaranteed money, which makes him the highest paid right tackle in league history. Now, the Bears' first preseason game is set for August 15th against the Cleveland Browns at Soldier Field. That's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVO News Time, 8:37.
It's Rufus Williams. The thrill of summer is finally here, which also means it'll be over before we know it. This fall, the Rufus Williams Travel Club is heading to Charleston, South Carolina, October 8th through the 12th. Join me as we experience the beauty, the brilliance, and the culture of one of America's most captivating cities. We'll enjoy the charm of the Lowcountry, breathtaking scenery, incredible cuisine, and the rich African-American history of Charleston. There will also be a few special surprises designed just for our group. So whether you're traveling alone, with family, or with friends, you'll be welcomed into an unforgettable experience filled with great people and great memories. Space is limited, and the best rates are right now. Simply go to WVON.com, click on the Rufus Williams Travel Club banner, and reserve your space. Advantage International is the official travel partner of the Rufus Williams Travel Club. Charleston, South Carolina, October 8th through the 12th. Travel with people, travel with purpose, travel with us.
Hey family, it's me again, Joan Colasso, Executive and Artistic Director of the amazing Timeless Gifts Performing Arts Program for youth and young adults. It's been a great summer, and now it's time for you to see the incredible talent we've been cultivating in 2026. As we present a Timeless Gifts Review, Sunday, August 9th at the Logan Center. Come and enjoy this amazing musical journey as we share some of our best experiences and productions over our 16 years, like Timeless, a musical review, Hit Me, Once a Hit, Always a Hit, and from our international tour in Milan, Italy, and much more.
You'll be dancing in your seat.
That's Sunday, August 9th at the Logan Center, 915 East 60th Street. For tickets and information, go to ticketfalcon.com/TG Summer 2026 and find us on social media at TimelessGifts_Chicago or call us at 312-808-0005.
This Friday, join WVON's Rufus Williams and Metra as WVON broadcasts live from Millennium Station from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. We'll have special guests and WVON personalities on hand, bringing you the latest from Metra and the community. Metra is a safe, efficient, and clean way to travel throughout the Chicago region. And this year, Metra is celebrating 100 years of electrified transportation. That's this Friday, August 7th, from 7 to 9 a.m. Join WVON and Metra live from Millennium Station.
Protect your money and build your wealth. Sundays at 3 p.m., host and owners of Top and Top Insurance Agency, Clydell and Betty Top, teach you about protecting your assets, 401ks, annuities, life after retirement, the differences and benefits of life insurance, and they take questions. Their advice can enhance your financial future and your legacy. Call for a free WVON financial consultation, 773-881-8110. Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. to protect your money and build your wealth. Powered by Top and Top Insurance Agency.
This report is brought to you by Jewel Osco. Shop Jewel Osco and catch the savings on seafood. Fresh Atlantic salmon fillets are $5.99 a pound. Limit 10 pounds. Plus, Waterfront Bistro 26 to 30 count easy peel raw shrimp is also $5.99 a pound. Limit 4 pounds.
Welcome to Bound and Woven, where smart conversations with smart people make us all smarter. Few words in the English language carry more history, more pain, more contradiction, and more power than the one at the center of today's conversation. It has been used to enslave, degrade, provoke, reclaim, entertain, divide, and for some, redefine identity. Our guest has spent years studying that word, not simply as a historian, but as someone whose own life has been profoundly shaped by it. Elizabeth Stordeur Pryor is a distinguished historian at Smith College, an acclaimed scholar of race and language, and the daughter of one of the most influential comedians in American history, Richard Pryor. In her remarkable new book, Something We Said, Richard Pryor, A Notorious Word, and Me, she weaves together memoir, history, culture, and family to examine how one word has influenced American life and her own. The book began after a classroom incident in which a student quoted Richard Pryor using the racial slur, prompting her to confront both its history and her personal relationship with her father. This isn't simply a book about Richard Pryor. It's a book about America, about race, about family, about identity, about who gets to define us, and whether language can ever truly be transformed. Elizabeth Stordeur Pryor, welcome to Bound and Woven.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to the conversation.
The title is Something We Said, not something he said. Why was it important for this to be we instead of Richard Pryor?
I mean, I never set out to write a book about my father. In fact, that was like the thing I resisted in all of the writing. Really, my interest has been for about 15 years or 20 years in the history of the N-word. And what happened for me, so I had this incident you talked about in my classroom, and what happened for me is the more that I dug into that history, the more I realized that my personal history was, bubbling up. I couldn't stop it from bubbling up. And when I read the academic history, nearly everything I read talked about my father because of his groundbreaking work in the 1970s and how he used that word in a kind of satirical, subversive way as a kind of resistance, and then later disavowed it. And so those conversations were always putting him front and center. And I ultimately had to confront that this work wasn't just about my academic work, but there was some kind of, I guess, personal haunting that, 15 years after my father had died, that I was being pushed back together and reconnected with him.
Now, you write both as a daughter and a historian. Which role was harder?
Okay. Actually, both were very hard. Both were very hard, but it was really hard for me to do the memoir, because I'd spent my entire life being extremely private about my relationship to my father. And even if it was like the worst kept secret in the circles that I moved, I did not talk about it. I kept it so close to the chest. So opening up about our relationship in such a public forum was really hard, but also very powerful for me, very healing.
Well, knowing who he is, I'm sure folks say, girl, you look just like your daddy. let me ask, did writing this book change your understanding of your father or change your understanding of yourself?
I mean, it did both in so many different ways. My father, you know, I feel like embarrassed saying this in front of your audience, but I hadn't really engaged with his comedy. I had listened to, you know, I'd been to his shows as a child, but then there came a point where I felt like there were so many people who felt like they knew him like intimately because of his comedy, knew every word of his albums, right? And his stand-up, that I felt like I wanted to know what he liked to eat for dinner. I wanted to know the private person. And so there was this part of me that really resisted getting to know his work. As I dug into this project, I knew I couldn't avoid it. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, actually a genius. Like, I know that like, people were, you know, Richard Pryor's a genius. I'm like, yeah, oh, I get it. You know, he was funny, but he was a genius. And he, you know, he made America, all of America, but particularly white America, reckon with their racism in ways that I don't even know if today's comedians can pull off fully.
Well, they can't, which is why he comes up so often in so many conversations about really about culture and about history. And you and I have both referred to this, but one of the most moving parts of the story is that this project really began because of a moment in your classroom.
Yes.
Why did that moment shake you so deeply?
I mean, that's the question I answer or try to answer in part by writing the book, because I think any number of people, you know, you have a white student, I'm at a predominantly white institution, I have a white student say the N-word in my class, and there are, I would say 97% of the people who would have been like, don't say that, you shouldn't say that in class, here's the reason why, and there'd be no story. But I legitimately got shook in the moment. And it wasn't a pearl clutching moment, but it was like, I did not know what to do. I had Black students in the class that I wanted to protect. I had this fear that I was going to be accused of trampling on free speech if I said anything. And so I got kind of stunned. And then plus all these personal memories that many of them painful, that I hadn't thought about for decades, truly, or hadn't let myself think about.
We'll be back. More of my conversation with Dr. Pryor right after this.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
This is Kamini Khan, certified financial planner professional. For the past year, I've been on a mission to change lives and build wealth in our community. Together, we're changing the paradigm. This year, I'm back with a new series, Wealth Strategies, Money Talks. Join me every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on the Rufus Williams Show as we have thoughtful discussions around building wealth in our community. We'll discuss topics like investing, savings, tax strategies, retirement, and all things money. Yes, that's Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., so set those alarms. Also, be sure to check out the podcast at WVONWealthShow.com.
Komini Khan is a certified financial planner professional with Optimal Planning Partners in alliance with Equitable Advisors, LLC member SIPC in Oak Brook, Illinois. For more information, please call 630-575-5046.
This Friday, join WVON's Rufus Williams and Metra as WVON broadcasts live from Millennium Station from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. We'll have special guests and WVON personalities on hand, bringing you the latest from Metra and the community. Metra is a safe, efficient, and clean way to travel throughout the Chicago region. And this year, Metra is celebrating 100 years of electrified transportation. That's this Friday, August 7th, from 7 to 9 a.m. Join WVON and Metra live from Millennium Station.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your family's health and our community's health comes first. That's why UChicago Medicine brings you the Community Health Focus Hour, Saturdays at 1 p.m. No matter the health topic, you'll get clear facts, real and doable advice from UChicago Medicine doctors, experts, and community leaders. So you, your family, and community can make smarter choices and live healthier. Hear us at WVON.com or WVON at iHeartRadio. The Community Health Focus Hour, Saturdays at 1 p.m., powered by the Urban Health Initiative of UChicago Medicine at the forefront.
This report is brought to you by Jewel Osco. Shop Jewel Osco and catch the savings on seafood. Fresh Atlantic salmon fillets are $5.99 a pound. Limit 10 pounds. Plus, Waterfront Bistro 26 to 30 count easy peel raw shrimp is also $5.99 a pound. Limit 4 pounds.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No major changes in your travel times this break, but we are monitoring what's happening along the inbound side of the Kennedy. Now, that accident at Harlem right now is causing some major delays. Traffic right now solid from Cumberland. Taking a look at our weather, cloudy skies and humid. The National Weather Service says we could see showers this morning, this afternoon, and rain tonight. We're looking at a daytime high of around 79. We could make it to 80. 69 is our low. Because of the heavy cloud coverage right now, things have been steady at 75. It's 75 at Midway. It's 75 at the Obama Presidential Center. And it's 75 here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Anna Flanoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Now back to the morning show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Back to my bound and woven conversation with Elizabeth Stordeur Pryor. The book is titled Something We Said. The Bound and Woven Conversation is up on Vine TV. Check it out on Amazon Fire, Roku, WVON.com, and all other places where you get Vine. And just go to VON.tv. But get the book, check out the interview, and listen to another excerpt from it right here. Well, so many will come closer to that understanding when they pick up and read the book, because we're not going to go any further into it right here. But I have to ask, was there a point during your research when this stopped being an academic project and became something deeply personal?
Yeah, I mean, there really was. I think as I got more and more into the story, and I started to, I guess, even admit to myself that the fact that my father grappled with the N-word throughout much of his career was not a coincidence or a happenstance, but was deeply connected to the work that I was doing grappling with the N-word, that I started to say, wait, this is bigger than I'm allowing it to be. And the personal part was the end of for those who don't know, my father died in 2005 from multiple sclerosis. It was a very difficult ending of his life. He was really debilitated and taken down by the disease. And there was so much pain and anguish in those last few years for anybody who loved him. And so being able to have a kind of revival of our relationship after his passing was deeply personal, deeply.
So much that's there that certainly those of us who are fathers of daughter admire in your relationship with your father, certainly from early on in the times in which you met him. Millions of us knew Richard Pryor. Very few knew Richard Pryor as dad. So talk to us about who he was when the cameras weren't rolling.
I mean, for those who read my book, they'll learn that I was 6 years old when I met my father for the first time. My parents split shortly after I was born, and my mother moved me back to Boston to live with her parents. My mother was white and Jewish, and I went back to Boston to stay with her parents. And it wasn't until she confronted him that he came back into my life and stayed there. And so for me, he was always this like mystical, mythical, magical creature that I just loved and adored. And so as a father, he could be, what was funny about him is, in terms of like making me breakfast in the morning and stuff like that, he didn't do that. He wasn't that kind of a dad to me, but he was so connected. I mean, he could really see you, even, with all, I mean, he had a lot of demons. He struggled with drug addiction. He had a lot of different women in his life. There was it was very hard for my father to be famous in the way that he was, even as he loved it and embraced it in all of these ways. But as a father, he was endearing, he was charming, he could be cruel, he would, be like a normal 70s divorced dad, Wednesday night dinners, sleepover, and then every other weekend kind of thing, and then he'd disappear for a while. He was all the things, but I know for us kids, we loved and admired him anyway and could never get enough.
Well, you write honestly about his brilliance, but also about his absence. How difficult was it to tell both truths?
I mean, that was, I had somebody who helped me with the editing, and we talked about the pendulum swing. I'd go from so when I started the book, because like I said, the end of his life was really hard, it started bitter. There was anger on the page when I wrote about him. And for me, one of the things I love about where the project ended up is it reminded me of the tenderness that we shared, because there was so much tenderness between us. It just got obscured by these other things. And so I felt like I did not want to paint him as the perfect father, because that just would be a bold-faced lie, right? But I also thought it was important to highlight that he wanted to be a good father. That was important. Family was very important to my father. He always had family around. He was raised by his grandmother, who was a madam in a brothel, and had the utmost respect for her, fear and respect for her. And he really wanted his children around. Rain and I, who both lived in Los Angeles, were around all the time. My brother Richard Jr. came to visit, who lived in my father's hometown, Peoria. And then my father had another generation of children, 16 years after my sister, who's 2 years younger than I am. He had 3 more kids. And he always had us around.
Anyway, look, your father arguably changed American comedy forever. Do you think people still underestimate just how revolutionary he really was?
100%. I do not think people understand how, I taught a class last semester called Richard Pryor's America. And it was so fun. And the students are all between 18 and 22, basically. And they really didn't know who Richard Pryor even was. They knew his name the way I knew somebody like Cary Grant. You hear these names, or W.C. Fields, or like these kinds of names that I heard, but like didn't really know who they were. And that's how my students know him. And at first I was like, okay, that's generational. That happens. But to me, I realized it was more a statement about Black history and about the ways in which our histories are archived and remembered, that people could, other than like, listen, all the comedians worth their salt, if you ask them who they love, they say Richard Pryor. I mean, that's true, but that people don't understand why he was funny, what he did. It wasn't just the ways that he grappled with race, but just bringing authenticity on the stage, giving people permission to tell their own true stories instead of doing this kind of vaudevillian shtick that people were doing, kind of stuff. And he just was like, no, I'm going to get up there and I'm going to tell my truth and my story.
Bound and Woven, Something We Said. It is Elizabeth Stordeur Pryor. It's up now. Check it out. Get the book. It's a fascinating, it's a much longer conversation, obviously, but glad to have had the opportunity to talk to her, as well as glad to have had in the studio with me today, Luanda Dockery. Check her out on Friday at her book signing. Or get her book. Go to her website. And just grateful to all who came on today, all who called in. Annette, appreciate you and your analysis all the time. Let's do it again tomorrow. And Titus, always appreciate you and keeping all these things together. Folks, the candidate, the Secretary of State, Alexi Giannoulis, will join me tomorrow morning. Make sure you tune in for that. And I will ask you, as I always do, as you go through the course of the day, you will come across people who are dealing with things that you know absolutely nothing about. So please, be kind, always. And with that, Annette, tell us what the headlines, and T-Dub, take us home.
Prepare for a rainy day in Chicago on this Wednesday, August 5th, 2026. I'm Annette Flanoyan in the headlines. Mayor Brandon Johnson is defending his department after another key figure has left his team. Meanwhile, critics are coming out of the woodworks, including Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulis, who says the mayor is not meeting the moment. He will be in an exclusive interview tomorrow with Rufus Williams. Also, the mayor's race could be getting even more crowded as businessman Willie Wilson is set to make an important announcement on Monday. National news from the Black Information Network is next on the Voice of a Nation and the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 9:02.
I'm Mike Iden with BIN News Now. The uncontained wild